All right, week 9, Thursday night football recap. Just a blowout. Ravens 28, Dolphins 6. Tale of two sides tonight. Ravens look a lot better with Lamar. Obviously, clearly the number one team in the AFC North. Change my mind, you can't. They own this division. It's theirs for the taking. With Lamar healthy, don't count the Ravens out. I told you this last week. They have 5 straight games, Miami being one of them, of just easy W's for them. They can take it. They can go 5-0, get back in the W column, get above 500, and they will make the playoffs if Lamar and King Henry stay healthy. On the other side of the ball, Miami Dolphins, nothing new. Just reinforcing what we already figured out about this franchise. Tua's not the future, and McDaniel, I would be shocked if he had a job next week. I would be shocked, but at the same time, I feel like I've been saying that for over a year now. Well over a year. I feel like fans have been saying that. The seat is burning. It's on complete fire right now. I'm shocked he has a job. Clearly better fit as an OC than a head coach. Not a leader of men. The leadership in Miami is just falling apart. It's destroyed. He's been too close, too buddy-buddy with his guys there, which is great as a head coach. You want those relationships, but there's no power dynamic right now. I don't feel like McDaniel controls the locker room, and as a result, they have failed to put the production on the field that they need to win a playoff game. They have the longest active winless playoff drought in Miami with 24 years since their last playoff win. And now they're dealing with this bullshit. I feel really bad. We're recapping the Thursday Nighter right now. You know the drill. JV back on the JV show. While you're here, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. The support this year has been absolutely amazing. We're closing in on 3K, which is awesome. So keep doing your thing. I appreciate it very, very much. And we're going to keep rolling. Before we get the episode started, I'd like to remind you this year I'm sponsored by my guys over at Big Third Down Shop, who sent me a ton of these real cool NFL hats. If you haven't seen all of them, go check out my Instagram profile. Everything is there. NFL fan hats, every single team they got. The link is in my bio to shop those hats. You'll see them featured on my episodes, including this JV show one right here, which they sent me, which looks phenomenal. I wear it all the time. Lots of compliments. People love it. So if you get a chance, these embroidered NFL hats, go get yourself one. Spice up the wardrobe. You won't regret it. You absolutely will not regret it. And without further ado, let's talk some ball. Ravens 28, Dolphins 6, belt to ass tonight by Baltimore in Lamar's return back to the roster, now healthy. Listen, just to talk about the Ravens real quick before we talk about the dysfunction in Miami, I told you last week, don't count the Ravens out, and this is the exact reason why. When Lamar is healthy, Baltimore owns the AFC North. I like them better than the Bengals, who don't have Joe Burrow right now, who just lost to the previously 0-7, now 1-7 New York Jets. The Steelers are consistently a 9-8 or 10-7 wildcard knockout, and the Browns are the Browns. Baltimore is the clear favorite to win the AFC North, by far. They have a 5-game span, Miami one of those games, where they could go easily 5-0. Get back in the W column, get above 500, and after that, Baltimore takes over, and you see them in the playoffs. What Lamar Jackson does for this team is absolutely incredible. Lamar Jackson masks the flaws of John Harbaugh. He has for a long time now. Early on in his career, Lamar Jackson was primarily a rushing threat in the Greg Roman system. Once he graduated that system, Todd Monken comes in, and now his arm is arguably better than his threat of his legs on the ground. Tonight, 4 passing touchdowns, over 200 yards, 18 of 23. He can destroy you with his rushing ability. And on top of that, he'll pick you apart and dice up your secondary for 250 and 4 TDs. 300 yards, 350, whatever you want. Now, the reality of the situation is that they have Lamar and Derrick Henry in the backfield. So defenses have to choose. And the right choice is usually stack the box and let your secondary go to work, hopefully. Because you can't afford to have Derrick Henry or Lamar go for 200, 300 rushing yards. They will kill you there. And inevitably, that opens up passing lanes for Lamar. That's not taken away from Lamar's passing ability, but it definitely does help his game. We always talked about Lamar Jackson as the rusher and what it would be like if his arm came up to par with his rushing ability. Now we're here. Now we're watching a generational talent go to work week in, week out, and when he's healthy, he's the most talented player in the NFL. He really is a generational talent. When you watch Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, they're phenomenal, don't get me wrong, but nobody is as talented and unstoppable as Lamar Jackson. They're just not. You can talk about his playoff struggles, for sure. All of that is valid. But as a pure talent, Lamar Jackson, he's number one. I've never seen anything like him. No quarterback in history has rushed the ball as good as Lamar, and now his arm is top 10, top 5 in the NFL. He's got a phenomenal arm in the pocket, moving outside the pocket, off platform, finding ways to make something out of nothing. He does it absolutely all. Absolutely everything you can count out of Lamar. And I think right now, you start off the season 1-5, not looking so good. John Harbaugh, in my opinion, has been behind the wall of Lamar Jackson, and he's kind of operated silently, hasn't been good coaching in the playoffs, has made some big mistakes, and without Lamar, the team looks horrendous. But these last few weeks, Zach Orr and that defense have definitely stepped up. Big game against Chicago and tonight against Miami. Let's see how they can match up against some better offenses in the NFL. But good to see them back into a little bit of a consistent role, getting their guys back healthy. But I think with Lamar, at the end of the day, you got him, you got King Henry healthy. Absolutely anything's possible. Absolutely anything. You can accomplish a 10-win season, a 12-win season. You can go to the playoffs and win multiple games. You can win a Super Bowl. I think Lamar is ready to be in that category. I have full confidence in him. Now it's all about execution, and execution when it matters in the playoffs. That's the next step for the career of Lamar Jackson, because when he gets that, when he gets his Super Bowl, we're going to start having some real uncomfortable conversations, because then you really can't say shit about Lamar. You can't. If he passes for a few touchdowns, 200 yards in a Super Bowl, I can't wait to see the response of people who still refer to him as a quote-unquote running back. Phenomenal talent, generational. Ravens absolutely got their guy. Multiple-time MVP, probably winning it again in his career. If he stays healthy and he gets some playoff wins under his belt and he goes out there and potentially wins a Super Bowl, I promise you, we're going to start having some really dangerously uncomfortable conversations about Lamar and where he ranks as an all-time quarterback. Now to talk about the Miami Dolphins, who, again, I will repeat, have not won a playoff game in 24 years. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in 24 years, and now they're dealing with Tua and Mike McDaniel. It's very clear Tua isn't the franchise guy. He hasn't been since he got there. Now, I know there are some Tua truthers, but I wonder, how will the Tua truthers support Tua after this? I don't think you can. He's not the future for Miami. He turns the ball over at an insane rate. And just watching him, I get uncomfortable. I don't think he can take over games, and I don't think he's elite. He hasn't been, ever. He's never been a top 10 quarterback in the league, and you can bring up different statistics. You can bring up your special numbers, your stats. You can analyze the data. At the end of the day, when I watch him, I don't feel confident in Tua to go on the road and win a playoff game. He got paid $55 million for never winning a playoff game. Highway robbery, if you ask me. Look, I know the quarterback market is desperate, and you got to pay your guys even when you're not 100% sure, 100% certain about their future. But it was clearly an overpay. $55 million annually is insane for a guy that's not going to win a playoff game for your franchise, who's now 2-7. Even when they were having success, they were usually beating up on some low-end, below 500 teams. And when they went on the road in the playoffs, in the cold, Tua froze. Quite literally, but he froze. Right? He wasn't the same quarterback. Put up some great statistics for sure. Had a few great years or a great year there. But when the big moments came around, he wasn't there. And just watching him play, I don't know if it's the left-handed quarterback thing. I don't know if it's just a talent issue. But I just don't think he's got it. I don't feel as confident when I watch Tua in his abilities in comparison to a guy like Drake May, who we've only got a small sample size for. But I'll keep it real with you. When I watch Drake May play, I feel way more confident in his ability as the future of his franchise to lead his team to the playoffs and win playoff games at home or on the road than I do in Tua. There's just something about their game. I've always said this about quarterbacks. The eye test and your gut feeling rarely fails you. If you're being 100% honest, you flick on the TV, you watch a few games of Tua's, you will feel the same way. Unless you are blinded, I don't know what would lead you to believe that he's still the future, but I just don't see it. And on top of that, the concussion and injury problems, right? You're scared. You're concerned about his future. Not just football-wise, but in life, right? So, unfortunately, I don't think he's the future. I've said this for years now. And now I think everybody, including the fans who were booing him in the offense all night long, are starting to see that more and more frequently. But it absolutely does not help that he's got a doofus coaching. Mike McDaniel might be suited to be a great offensive coordinator in the NFL, but he is certainly not a head coach. He is not head coach material. Since he got to Miami, he's been buddy-buddy with everyone on the team, very lackadaisical, and as a result, there is no leadership. There is no power dynamic with the head coach. And now the Dolphins are 2-7. And they haven't won a playoff game in 24 years, and they're not winning one anytime soon. I find it very odd that the franchise, the fan base, pretty much everybody has been calling for McDaniel to be fired on a flaming hot seat for over a year now, and nothing changes. It's like they're emotionally attached to the guy. Like they just can't let him go. It's very obvious what's going on. We were hearing reports about players missing meetings, no leadership, no accountability. That, to me, falls on the head coach. And watching McDaniel in his interviews, in his post-game pressers, to me, I just don't get that head coach vibe. I don't get that dominance. I like that he was getting pumped up tonight about some calls, but he just doesn't give me that aura of a head coach that I want. You know, I see Mike Vrabel as a head coach in New England who's new there, first-time head coach for the Patriots, obviously in Tennessee prior. And you watch him and you see him and how he presents himself, I would say, to the media and to the fans. And it's just a different level of respect you got for a guy like that. When you hear these weird stories about the leadership group in Miami, automatically the alarm bells go off, the sirens, and you're like, hold on, what's going on here, right? Like, I don't think so. I don't think something's working. And now that McDaniel's offense has been figured out, you know, I don't know if they were ever elite. At one point a few years ago, they were putting up some great stats, but I don't know if they were ever an elite offense. I thought they were just pretty much speed-oriented, and once they got to the playoffs, it kind of all fell apart. But once they were figured out 100%, I mean, it's exposed them as fraudulent. So, like, just to get this straight, right? McDaniel, who's an offensive guy, who has no leadership skills, is failing the Dolphins from a leadership aspect, from a leadership standpoint, and an offensive standpoint, and still has a job as a head coach. You know, like it just doesn't make sense. Like something's got to change. You got to get the guy out of there. The Tua and McDaniel era, it's over in Miami. And again, nothing new. We've known this, but just reinforcing the facts that it's not working. And being a Miami Dolphins fan must really suck. Like, it must really suck. It's pretty sad. They take another bad loss tonight. They're 2-7 on the year with nothing to look forward to. That's pretty much all I got for you. Ravens dominate. I think they look great. Pretty much Lamar comes back to save them, as we all expected. And the Dolphins, I mean, they're just burning. They're burning. They're going up in flames. It is what it is. NFL, Week 9, big Sunday ahead of us. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend, so stay tuned for more content coming your way from me. Halfway through the NFL year, it's blown by. It really has. You feel like yesterday it was that first Thursday night football game, and now we're here Week 9. But I'm getting excited, man. We're starting to see this playoff picture form. We're starting to hear the real MVP conversation start and the playoff picture, and it's that good time of year. Thanksgiving, NFL Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Christmas, come on, baby. Come on. I'm filming this on October 30th, so happy Halloween to everybody that's watching. Stay tuned for a big Week 9. Let's keep it rolling. Stay safe, and as always, I'll catch you soon. Peace out, y'all.